Welcome to our continuing series of video sales training tips sponsored by Knowland. I'm Doug Kennedy with Kennedy Training Network. Today's tip is on the subject of sales 2025 and beyond. Now I know some of you are saying, but wait Doug, we haven't even entered 2020 yet. I just want you to think back to where you were 5 years ago and how quickly time flies, especially in the business world. So our subject today is thinking ahead, on the road ahead, always thinking ahead. Now, like all industries, really virtually every industry today, we're experiencing disruption. So whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, it's definitely a thing. And change is around us every single day. I'm going to cover three major trends that I always focus on in my sales training articles and presentations, but we're going to contextualize them into today's talk, which is, what are you going to do about it? Three major changes that we're dealing with today. One is most of us watching this video today, if you're in hotel sales or event sales or wedding sales, you're probably experiencing lead overload. So we have leads coming at us from many different directions. Now, of course, the reason for this is because years ago, not that many years ago, in order to do an inquiry, people had to pick up a telephone call, they had to go through an admin, they had to then get to a salesperson, they had to have a conversation, and then through snail mail or, of course, much more recently, email, proposals would arrive. So a right-minded person would consider maybe 3 or 4 options, because who had time to look at more than that? Today, at a few clicks of a button, at websites like Cvent for Business, of course there's many other websites that people go to, or website RFPs, direct website RFPs, or email inquiries, or on the social side, the Not Wedding Wire and others. One click, out goes RFPs. In fact, Cvent tells me the average RFP goes to 8.6 hotels in today's world. Now, on the other thing that's disrupting us is, rather than doing a proposal and sending it back and really putting a lot of thought into it, we have increasingly an automation of the RFP responses. So most of us today are looking at a template and we pop in the person's name, and a lot of people in hotel sales, that's pretty much all they do. So as we've addressed in other training video tips, you really want to contextualize it and customize it. So that means, like, the personalization part, of course, putting in their name and maybe their company name and hopefully their logo, but contextualizing the messaging. So if based on, if there's 20 images in your website, your e-proposal or your standard RFP document, take the ones out that don't apply and make those that do apply that much more important. We also have our third disruption that I want to focus on today because it's relevant to this training tip: data-driven rate strategies and unwavering revenue managers who are relying on RM automation. So they're trying to do the best they can too. They have a lot of data, more so than years ago. And so as a result, they plug it into their RM tech system and out comes a yes or a no, or spitting out a rate that we should charge, and if the planner is saying we must take a slightly lower rate or we need concessions, the machine says no. Now, plenty of RMs out there that use that in context, and they look at the big picture and they make the human decision. But unfortunately, we have a lot that don't, and that don't want to hear it. So they have a short-term view. So now, that being said, the point here is, what are you going to do about it? The old adage, where do you see yourself in 5 years? But I have news for you. If you like your job, and depending on your age, you're going to be working a lot longer than 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, more. So think about the future and what is your long game? Where are you headed in the long run? And we can be reactive and wait for the next disruption to happen, because it will. If you think disruption is over now, it's really only just beginning. The speed is picking up very fast every year. So we can sit back and play the victim, or we can be proactive and we can be the one that moves our career ahead, because ultimately it's you that's responsible. In order to do that, I encourage you to embrace proactive selling. Now, I think we have a split here in the sales org chart going on. And I see this actually happening with some hotel brands and hotel companies that are actually splitting off sales into really 2 jobs, okay? And then those that haven't formally reorganized the org chart This is, I think, what's coming by 2025 for most major hotels and hotel companies. We are going to have the gatherers, okay? And sales will, I guess, in a way, almost devolve into an administrative role. Okay, so if all we're doing is receiving an RFP, plugging in someone's name into an e-proposal, plugging in a rate that our RM tech gives us, putting that in, okay, and of course all the other stuff that we do, legal-wise, into the contracts. But for the most part, an admin can do this. Okay, so we could take a traditional administrative type personality that can type really fast, and they can do that job. So that's one part of the org chart, and that's one direction sales may be going. The other part is going to be the hunters. Okay, so a gatherer's farm, hunters go and hunt down their next meal. These are the proactive generators of revenue and sales leads. Proactive generators of revenue that result from their sales leads. So today, what's exciting is there's a fork in the road. You can choose which direction your career is going to go. You can play along and let it evolve and see what happens and how it goes, or you can take charge. And if you want to take charge today, there's a lot of great resources. Now, I want to point out one thing. Someone called this recently an urban legend. They labeled it an urban legend, and I think it is actually what it is. I have been frustrated for so long because many top minds in the business seem to believe in hotel sales that all you have to do is the first one to respond, you're going to get the deal. Okay, the early bird gets the worm. That's been a saying for, at least as long as I've been alive. But actually, please do not believe that because it's simply not true. Okay, CVent actually sent me statistics that the first respondent gets 31%, the second respondent gets 31%, the third or later gets 38%. Okay, now why is that? Well, all you have to do is Google search for the CVent Hotel Planner 2019. I know this is hard to read on my TV screen here, but if you do a Google search, CVent Hotel Planner Survey 2019, you'll come up with a white paper, and you will read, I believe it's the second or third slide in their deck. They asked planners what do they want hoteliers to improve on. 32% of them wanted more attention to detail in the RFPs, all right? Now, only 20% of them said that they're looking for hotels to speed up the response. So 32% want more contextualization, customization, responding to what they actually wrote into their RFP, but only 20% wanted to receive it faster. Now, that doesn't mean we can take 5 days. Okay, CVent also tells me that, yeah, if you wait too long, you're going to be out of the game. So what I advocate for is send a note back, hey, got your proposal, we're going to be in touch. Even better, and that's good, but great, is pick up the phone, leave a voicemail, because they probably won't answer first time with all the robocalls people get, but leave a voicemail. Hello, this is Doug from Brand X Hotel. We received your RFP. I just had a couple of quick questions that are going to help me write a more thorough response. And the person, or if you get them on the phone, they might not be all excited like, oh, awesome, a phone call, but they might even sound a little bit annoyed, but if you actually start off with some reasonable questions, they'll spend some time with you. And by the end of the call, they're going to be thinking, you know, that person really wanted my business, and they really cared, and yeah, you know, that counts for something. So also, a couple of tools that you have today, if we want to be proactive salespersons, you can actually research history that helps you identify the long-term value of inbound leads. If you subscribe to Knowland, and they have a fantastic new option they've evolved in recent months called Smart Search. They've had search options all along, but today's Smart Search version gives you a lot deeper dive. So when you get that RFP and they're saying their top rate is X, and your revenue manager says, oh, we can't go that low, we got to be higher, and the revenue manager says, well, you know, we have this other group over here, or maybe you're saying, well, we have this other group that's willing to pay a little bit more. But now what we can do is we can help that RM see the potential lifetime value of the client company or the organization, all right? So I know I've got some screen caps here. The Knowland folks will be very happy if you're a subscriber to train you on this. If you're not a subscriber yet, they'll be happy to show you a demo. But you can actually put in here, and I'm going to just run through some screen caps for a piece of business, let's say from the the list here. You can look up the company or organization. You can drill down further, and then you can get to that they actually meet at this particular hotel, that they do 10 functions, and you can drill down to the type of functions they use, what other hotels they're using. The RFP might say we do 3 meetings a year, or in this case 10 functions a year. But if you use the smart search, you can actually drill down and see what hotels they're meeting at, what dates those meetings are generally held. And you can go back several years in history. So now we can go in there to our revenue management meeting and say, okay, look, we have to take a hit this time. They're still willing to pay us a good rate. It's not as maybe as high as this other company, but if we get this business, they're going to use us during those gap dates. They're going to come back again and again. So that's one huge opportunity. Now the other thing is, if you really want to be a hunter, that's how to be a really smart searching instead of just a gatherer, to be a true salesperson that can evaluate and help the RM with their job of analyzing the value. The other thing for the long game here is hunters proactively generate business. I just read HSMAI Insights Today. Today is Friday, October 11th. Someone actually wrote, a national sales trainer wrote an article that the hunters are going to be extinct. I guess they're not subscribing to Knowland, and I don't think they're going to watch my video if you think that's the case. Because today, more than ever, you can be a hunter. You can be an intelligent hunter. You don't just have to go dialing for dollars or knocking on doors. If you embrace new tech, you can find new sales opportunities. And instead of do cold calling or warm calling, we can do smart calling, okay? And so that's what we want to do. We can be a smart cold caller. So you can drill down once again, and now you can do a lot on Google. Before I started getting involved with the latest Knowland applications out there, I actually train people, and I still do if you're not a subscriber, how to use Google and LinkedIn and other tools. But if you on top of that have Knowland, what a fantastic tool, all right? And many of you do have Knowland, but you may not be utilizing it as often or to the fullest extent. So you can hunt down business by market. You can look in your own market, or you can look at like markets. We did a program in Dallas last month, and a lot of people in Dallas are trying to steal business from Nashville. Maybe you're watching this from Nashville. Hey, go and steal business from Dallas. It's fair game, right? So you can drill down by year. You can drill down by location, by year, and attributes, and you can drill down further. So you can find out who has business out there. Then you jump over to your LinkedIn or your Zoom, and you research people to actually get names, and you can dig a little bit deeper. But at least you know the business you're going after. And instead of doing cold calling or warm calling, you can do smart calling, and you can actually reach out and find opportunities, because you're going to sound like you know what you're doing when you call them. So in summary, think back how much change you've already seen in your years in the industry. Maybe you're the 5-year or 10-year salesperson. You've seen a lot of disruption. Maybe like me, you have decades in the industry. You see it continue to evolve. Change is not over. So now I want you to think about how long you've been in the business and project how many years forward you expect to work. Unless you win your lottery, okay, good luck with that. But you're going to be working a long time. Work smart. Be the hunter. Don't be a gatherer. I hope you've enjoyed this training tip from Knowland, and I'm Doug Kennedy. Thank you again.